And then you got to be careful. I'm going to just be real. I don't like a lot of tax strategists, right? Because I feel like they don't really get into the body of the business. All they focus on is the strategy. Well, go get not only the S Corp, or go get the G-Wagon, or go get this thing, or go get that thing, right? And we don't even know.
And now no Section 179 that say,
and
if
we don't
it
even
ain't
know the
reasonable
heartbeat
and
of this.
necessary, you might not be able to write that G-Wagon off.
Right. You don't even know the half of this. So I would definitely make sure that if you... What's going on, family? All information shared on this network is for educational purposes only. We are not your fiduciary, and we have not seen your specific situation. So if you apply any of these methods that we talk to you about, make sure you seek financial advice first before applying it to your situation. What's going on? So we're going to take you again, right, from the house all the way up to the boardroom, right? Last week episode, we talked about coming from the basement all the way up to an LLC. This episode, we're talking about part 2. So let's get into it. What's going on, everybody? With another episode of Mind Your Biz. I am Dr. Black Wealth, and
I am Mrs. Fab Financial, and welcome to the MindinYaBiz YouTube channel, where we talk about all things business, right? Getting your financial house in order. So we talk about the personal, the spiritual, and the relationship wise, but most importantly, it's about business. It's about business. So we really want business owners in particular to really kind of get it together. So we
For sure.
So we vent and we talk about real case studies, real issues, real problems that we've had and seen, so that we can help guide you into the right direction, right? And so that you can learn from what's happening right now as we go through these cases, and just to have some perspective on what the next steps are, right, when you're in your business. And maybe ask yourself some tough questions, right? Like maybe I shouldn't be a business owner, right? Maybe this is not the thing for me. Oh, or maybe I was doing that different, right? Maybe I need to adjust some things, right? And so,
or maybe you're thinking about getting started, and we're trying to show you the fast path to success, right here.
And when people talk about fast path, I really want you to understand that doesn't mean error-free. When we say fast path, that does not mean you will not fall, you will not have bumps and bruises, that you will not go through things. That's not what fast pass means. So when you get a mentor and you get a coach and you're taking these classes, that does not mean that work is not included.
Right.
Very much so it's included, right? Right? So it's like when you buy the game pieces, right? You buy all the pieces. We are just providing you with the game board.
Yep.
You actually got to roll the dice and move. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's my disclaimer. That's kind of what
for sure.
You gotta play the game, right? You got all the board pieces. You like, yep, here go my fast pass. It is the game you're buying, but you actually got to play it. You got to move the pieces. You got to spin the dice. So there is no work is not included, right?
Yeah.
You got to add that yourself.
So listen, whether we got people here live in studio or our YouTube family, you know what I'm saying? We want to just impart that knowledge. So one of the things I discovered is, as we deal with business, I started to figure out a lot of my individual self shows up in my business in multiple different ways.
Yeah.
And one of the ways you're going to see it come up is in your finances.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things I started to do was I had to learn how to really start to take accountability for personal development, right? So just to get myself together. So y'all, I've been in my study bag. So I'm gonna talk to you about accountability. And this is coming from Galatians 6. We're going to start at verse 3, right? So it says, for if a man think himself to be something, when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. But let every man prove his own work, and then shall he rejoice in himself alone, and not in another. For every man shall bear his own burden. Verse 6 says, let him that is taught in the world communicate unto him that teacheth in all good things. It says, be not deceived, God is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. For he that soweth to the flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption, but he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. Right? And then it says, let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. Like, when I was reading that, this is, of course, to give it some context, this is Paul writing a letter to the churches, right? Teaching the churches basically how a man should walk in faith, right? And be not of the flesh. And he does it in comparison to Abraham amongst his two kids. Right. So when I'm reading that, right, as we went through the scriptures, what I'm gathering is there's a lot of us that are out here who we want to think we are something and portray ourselves to be something that we really are not. And you should just want to walk yourself in faith, right? Or just be in your true, authentic self, period. Right. And then it says, let every man prove his own work. Like Paul telling people, y'all got to go to work. This ain't just a prayer and you will just receive, whatever it is that you're praying for. Go to work and you will get it, right? For whatever a man shall sow, that's how he reap. Right. So if we sow in
good seeds,
you're gonna get good seeds back.
Get a good harvest.
If you're sowing in bad seeds, you're going to get bad seeds back. Why is this
important? Harvest. The fruit that you bear from the bad seed is connected to the seed you sow. It's like, so whether you are true in the word and the Bible and you're an energy person about the spirituality, right? The energy that you put out there is the energy that you get, right? And that goes with every single thing, right? That's your work ethic, that's your attitude, that's your relationships. How you present yourself to the world is just a facade, right? But what work are you really doing to manifest a positive return in your favor, right? And so that entails you of doing the work. If you want to have good relationships, that's doing the work. If you want to have good business, if you want to have a good marriage, whatever those things are, you have to sow good seeds. And I'm a true and firm believer of that, about sowing good seeds and putting positive out there and spreading love and joy. It's enough negativity out there. And you also need to I always say, don't be what you despise, right? So a lot of times we despise the person that talks negative, that's gossipy. We despise the lazy business owner. We despise the business owner that may not have great customer service or gets back with you or nickel and dimes you, but you're that person, right? You're not a good person. You're not a good customer, right? And so you wonder why you get what you get, right? And so I always say, don't be what you despise. So going into business, you have to have almost that same mindset, right? As a business owner, what seeds are you sowing? What roots are you planting to be a business that has longevity, right? What business owner, what seeds are you sowing to make sure that you can bend and not break, right? That, hey, I'm being financially responsible so that I'm able to invest and build and grow. Am I educating myself today, or am I going to use my environment as an excuse why my business is not here? Am I going to use, I'm a Black woman, I'm a this, I do. There's a ton of excuses on why, right? But we already know a lot of those are innate. Yes, it's harder for Blacks. It's harder for Black women. Yes, it's harder. But what are you doing to overcome some of that, right? And so just sitting back and watching the internet and being on YouTube, that's not sowing the seed. You're not going to reap a good harvest. Your fruit is going to be a little rotten. It's not going to work. Then you're going to be mad and angry and looking at my harvest. Then you're going to be mad at my harvest, right? And so then that's sometimes when jealousy kind of gets in. But I really wanted to because I talk a lot about finding your rhythm, finding the heartbeat of your business, right? I do a lot of like, hey, you need to know your numbers. You need to, look at your stuff quarterly, kind of like what we did last week. so you can understand the heartbeat and the rhythm of your business. And so even more into that, I'm on a 5 a.m. accountability call, and one of my coaches was talking about your financial algorithm. Well, baby, that hit gold for me, because I was like, I'm already talking about rhythm. How does HO build? It was like, what is your financial algorithm and how you disrupt it? And I was like, oh my God, that's like music to my ears. And so the financial algorithm is the rhythm. It is, when you think about an algorithm, you think about that is like a course, a thing that is almost on automatic, right? The algorithm, what is the financial algorithm of you? How do you spend money? How do you look at money? What's your relationship with money? Because most times people think it's a money problem, but it's a you problem. We have seen that time after time. Rich people, I'm not even rich people, but professional athletes, the people who win the lottery, all those statistics, they die broke because their financial algorithm is toxic, and then they don't disrupt it and stop it and change the rhythm on how they see and what the relationship is with money. So I pose the question to you, what is your financial algorithm? If you are not where you want to be, what is the financial algorithm and how do you disrupt that? How do you stop it and change and jump on another course and say, you know what, well, when God does, because I'm trying to sow good seeds, how do I really reap the benefits of my harvest? And am I going to be ready for that? Can I change my financial algorithm so that when God does give me the harvest that I've been praying and working for, that I don't squander it, that I don't mismanage it, that my business can sustain because I'm doing what I need to do, and my relationship with money is factual and not personal and emotional. Yeah. Right? And so my financial algorithm, just through time, went through a couple different rhythms, and I had to realize that I was being a little flagrant with money, not as tight as I needed to be. This is personal happening right now. My lease was up on my car, and I'm paying fees and an increased amount to extend my lease, which I didn't have to do. There's also 2 additional cars on my insurance policy that I no longer own, but I was paying more money. Now, what in the John Brown is not, that's careless, right? So how can I expect God, like, you being careless with my money? You're not even being a good shepherd of the money that I am giving you. Yep. You're not even sowing and getting this harvest together, right? Because you are wasting money. But because I was like, oh my God, I don't feel like being on the phone. I got to keep moving. I just need to get these sales. I just need to make these appointments. Slow down.
Get your house in.
Get your financial house in order. Stop and change your financial algorithm, because that's what you always do. Yeah. Right? And so even for me, at every level, you have to figure out the dysfunctionality on how you look at money and change it, right? Do you have a cushion? Are you saving, or are you an instant gratification person that's always consuming and buying when you have money in your account? Mm-hmm. And I used to be that person. It used to be real bad. My financial algorithm used to be like, girl, what's that? It used to be real bad. Money could not sit in my account. Do you hear me? Anything that came, it was like a revolving door. It went right on back out. Gone, like the wind fabulous. Do you hear me?
Those people.
Gone. And I had to get it together. Yeah. Like, okay, so now I'm able to save. I no longer had that emotional connection to things, and money can sit in my account, right? But so much so, now it's sometimes almost the opposite. It went to the other side. It's so much money in there. I'm like, I don't want to spend nothing. I don't want to pay the bills, because if I pay the bills, the money gonna get low. Well, girl, you're not even then. You done went the other side of the algorithm. You got to pay the bills now.
So you can't be too flagrant. You can't be too scarcity. Right. Can't have too much scarcity.
That's the scarcity mindset. I don't think I'm going to make more, so I'm going to hold on to this. Yep. And that's not what God. That's not God. That's not sowing good seed.
That's right.
So what is your financial algorithm, and how do you disrupt it?
For sure. And then a lot of that is just taking accountability period, right? Being able to explore what you see, right? You want customers and clients and people and vendors to pay you on time. Are you a good steward at paying other people, right? Those are the seeds that you sow. Are you a good person, a good moral, a good character? Do people want to do business with you, right? And those are those things that all goes into the financial algorithm, the mindset behind how do you get your financial house in order.
And it's usually one good tip to disrupt that and to change. First, you have to identify the dysfunction, right? And so self-assessment is important. It's like top priority. We all have some things that we can work on. So if you're sitting and watching, well, I don't need to work on nothing. I'm perfect, Paul. Okay, then this podcast and this YouTube channel is not for you if you are all things and you are perfect. So you could change and go to the next one.
I'm down.
But for those of us who are real and understand self-assessment is necessary, first you have to identify the dysfunction, right? Mm-hmm. What is the thing that I'm slow on the draw? That's usually the thing that you don't want to deal with. Yeah. That's usually the dysfunction, right? What is the thing that you're like, I don't feel like doing it. I don't feel like getting on the call. I don't want to answer these emails. I don't want to pay this bill. Oh my God, it's taxes time. I'm slow. What is the thing that you drag your feet with? That's usually the dysfunction. And so what do you got to do? You got to run straight for it. You got to pull the Band-Aid off and just get it done, right?
Lazy. Like what?
Are you always backed up to the deadline? And it's usually taxes and our finances. Because we always talk about obtaining and getting more money, right? It's usually a touchy spot, right? People don't want to disclose how much they make, how much they're really earning. It's like a secret. And then when we talk about how much we make, sometimes people exaggerate it so much so that the people who don't make enough money feel kind of incompetent. But at the end of the day, it's about how you manage what you have. And if you can't seem to manage what you have and what you have isn't working, you got to do some really fundamentals, right? You got to lean out. You got to cut the fat. And that's what we talked about a little bit every week. I talk about budgeting because it's always about the budgeting for me. I know when I had a really bad dysfunctional problem with saving, it was budgeting.
Right.
It was I was living at home with my mother making $3,000 a month, and I would have no money by the end of the month. Well, you don't have rent. So girl, what are you doing?
I hear loose spinning.
I'm catching cabs all the way. I'm from Philly. So I lived in Mount Airy, Germantown. I would catch a cab all the way to Willow Grove Mall.
Oh, wow.
Because I was a retail manager. I was single black female addicted to retail. I was that. I was her. I spent all the coins on all the things and didn't have any financial restraints or responsibility on how to budget and manage money. And I couldn't keep saying, well, that's how we are in the community. My mom didn't budget. She didn't. I gotta ask, but girl, you grown now. At this point, how do you have no money by the end of the month?
Yeah. It's usually like, and first of all, I don't judge people who go through that stuff because I feel like it's part of the phases of life. Like you're going to go through a phase where you're, especially if you come from little to nothing, you're going to go to a phase as soon as you get money, you're just going to start spending it because you want to get the stuff that you couldn't have when you couldn't have it. And that's cool for a period, right? The quicker we tighten that up, the faster we can get to where we really want to get to in that freedom stance. And that's one of the things I call just one of the phases of money, right? And so usually it's a disruptor that stops that. Yeah. An emergency that pops up you can't pay for. If it's a business, it's an IRS bill that we didn't expect to pay, right? And then as soon as that happens, you're like, hey, how can I get serious with my business? And then this is where we bring them down to the bookkeeping, keeping the 90-day cash flow going on and figuring out what's going on in the business so we can tighten up the expenses so that you can have money to pay for taxes or implement a strategy before tax season that will help save your business that you can use that money to invest in something else. Right. So, I mean, that's normally how we get it and where it comes from.
No, for sure. So I think two key things to help you change in your financial algorithm is one is find the problem. Find the problem, identify the problem, and find a solution to the problem. And if it's finances, finding the solution to the problem is not waiting until the last minute, right? The sooner you uncover the problem, the greater chance you have to recover from said problem. So if taxes is the thing, right? bookkeeping is the thing, keeping track of it, right? You feel overwhelmed. You're like, oh my God, money is coming in, it's coming out. I really don't know what's happening. All I know is that I'm bringing in $12,000 a month, $5,000 a month, and I have very little at the end, right? And you're feeling like you always got to keep making more money, right? Then you need to find a professional who can help you with it, right? And before the end of the year, the sooner the better, right? The sooner you uncover the problem, the better you can recover, or the faster you can recover, right? That's an analogy you can take across the board, right? They talk about people with cancer. If you diagnose it early, you have a greater chance of survival,
Right.
Right? So the same thing in your business and your finances. The sooner you uncover the problem,
Now find the leak.
the better you can recover, right? Because and the more money you can save.
Yeah.
So if you wait 2 and 3 years, or let's just say a year, let's just use 12 months, right? And the sooner you can identify the problem, right? Let's say, you know what, after the first 90 days, I've identified the problem. I've identified that I don't have enough profit. My margin of profit is really narrow. I'm making hardly anything. I need to figure out why. And you start cutting and trimming the fat. You didn't waste 10 months on throwing money down the drain. You know what I mean? So the sooner you can identify the problem, the faster you can recover and get back to business, right? And so, identify the problem. What is it? What is the thing that's disrupting me? What is my financial Achilles heel? What is the thing that can break me, that I'm slow to the draw, right? That's stopping me from getting to the next level. I never have enough money for inventory. I don't have enough money for investments. I don't have enough money to scale, right? Why? Why is that?
Yeah.
And it then reach out to a professional to help you.
Yeah.
And it seems simple, but we don't do it. And I know I didn't do it in the beginning. That's how I look at it. Like, ooh, look at that money.
Let's remember that law for the future.
That could have went into ads. That could have went into marketing.
Yeah.
That could have got me a new pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Going back into our example that we did last week, because the example seems far-fetched for a lot of people. But if you can identify the problem early and cut your emotional connection to money, then you're able to have discipline to make this a reality. Okay. And what is this reality? What does this look like? Let's go to the board.
Yeah.
Go to the board. All right.
To the board.
All right, guys. So just picking up, let's just review, right? As a salon owner, we did an average $700 per client. At $700, she did 5 clients a week, 10 clients a week. That made her $10,000 times 4 weeks. She made $40,000 minus her said expenses we had, give or take. Her profit was about $16,000 for the month. We did her 90-day projection, like a forecast a little bit. So at the end of the 90 days, at the end of this quarter, let's say first quarter, she had $49,200 in profit. She squirreled away $12,700 in taxes. First quarter, right? Her first quarter, she put away $7,500 for personal. She paid herself. That was her salary, right? Her owner's draw, because she's still an LLC, and she still has a regular W-2 job. Let's not forget this, okay? And she has $8,700 in savings and $8,700 in, what's PD stand for? Oh, personal development, okay? So the first quarter, this is what our forecast looks like for this person. So now we're going to continue her. So she started in the basement. She's now in the salon suite. We're going to try to push her all the way to corporate C Corp level, okay? So now as an LLC, her first quarter, this is what it looks like. So if this is you and you are kind of in this area, you're like, hey, I'm making money. I still have my W-2 job. My side hustle is now a business for me. It is picking up a lot of traction. I've been able to be self-disciplined, keep my job, stay in a spending budget that allows me to have these types of numbers within a short period of time. Because I think this is like year 2 for her. Because the first year she was in the basement. So year 2 for her. Now she can have real conversations with real people because she's got some real money, okay? And so the first thing that you want to think about is, okay, well, what's my next thing that I want to do? Maybe I want to set up, some investment. Maybe I want to set up and think about real estate. Think about, my retirement. Think about what's my next big play? Do I want to get a building? Okay, well, first, am I generating enough money to first quit my job and take this thing full time, right? This is the question that you want to sit down, not with you and your mother, but you and a financial expert, okay? Sometimes the mom means well, but that's not her arena. Your mom, girl, you making money, go ahead and quit. But now mom wants to be on your payroll. Mom, wait a minute. Or cousin or auntie, then you start bringing in people who help you. You're trying to add people on that really aren't knowledgeable and experts in that. So the first thing you want to do is sit down with a professional. Hey, listen, this is my forecast. This is how much money I made. This is my profit. What are your suggestions for me? So, and depending on who you sit next to, sit down with, they might say, okay, well, let's help you mitigate some of your tax burden. Let's try to transition you maybe to an S corp. Okay, maybe let's put yourself on payroll, right? So let's start from there. So I'm going to erase this and go and just look at her first 2-quarter projection. We're just going to multiply it by 2 and look at her payroll taxes. She's going to put herself on a W-2. Let's say she's thinking about buying a building, right? Maybe she's going to buy a building. Or does she stay in a salon suite for the next 6 months to a year? She's got options, okay? Because she was disciplined. So what do we want? What do we want her to do?
I say stay in the salon suite.
Stay in the salon suite. I agree.
Does you think you can do it? Just
I agree. And what is that doing? Squirreling away more money. So when she goes out here to get her building, and she has to pay construction costs, and she has to build it out, and she has to get licensing, she's not feeling super overwhelmed. So she may stay in the salon suite and now quit her job. She's going to take this full time, which means she could make more money, which means her next quarter projections are going to be through the roof because she was only doing this based on her part-time availability. So we're going to do her numbers as a full-time suite owner for a whole year.
Yeah.
So then she's going to transition to a S corp. Maybe she's going to add some products, and then she could do her 3 to 5 year projection. She's a full-blown corporation. Maybe she's opened up 2 or 3 salons on her own. She's going to rinse and repeat. She's going to get some people in her corner because she's got money, and she's disciplined. Okay, all right, here we go. Average price, we're going to keep it at $700. Oh, it was at 1,000? What was it? The price point was 700. Wait.
First started, and then it jumped up to 1,000.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because that's how we came up with the 10,000.
Oh, the 10,000. Yeah. Oh, her profit was $350.
Right, from the 700.
So her average client is still $1,000.
Right.
I mean, her average price point.
Right.
And she's not going to have a lot of those. You know what I mean? So if she's dealing in the luxury market, the luxury brand is quality over quantity. You're not going to have a lot. You're going to have people that's going to be able to pay that price point, right? So she was doing before one person.
That was one person a day.
That was one person a day. So now she's going full time. Let's just say 2 times a day, twice a day, right? So twice a day. She's got 2 people, twice a day. So that's $2,000 a day. And then let's say the weekend she was doing how many? What did we say?
5.
5. We could keep it at 5.
So Monday through Friday, or what?
Yeah, Monday through Friday.
She made $2,000 a day.
Well, no, usually they off on Monday. I don't know what y'all kids do today. In my world, you was off on Monday, and you will be off Sunday, Monday.
Yeah. So Tuesday, Friday,
Saturday.
Oh, through Saturday. Okay. So, but Tuesday through Friday.
But she in that luxury market, see, and you gotta have flexible availability.
Look.
You got, but she would do appointments only on Sunday, because I know my hairdresser, she be like, you coming on Monday. I know you, or you're coming on Sunday. Come on, girl. Especially because the people that's paying this price point, you got to think about who these people are.
Yeah, cater to.
You got to cater to that demographic. So you can't try to pigeonhole them like, we can only come Tuesday to Friday from 2 to 6.
But let's say on average, it's just Tuesday to Friday, two people a day.
Okay, we'll keep it.
That's 8,000 Tuesday through Friday, because we still ain't touched the 5.
Oh, we just said 2 a day.
Right.
Okay, so how many days?
Tuesday through Friday. What's that, 4 days?
So 4 times 2K.
Yeah.
That's 6, right? Or 8. My math ain't right. Ain't math?
It's 8,000. 8. And then on Saturday, she had what?
She did 5. So that was 2 plus 6, 8, 10. So 10. So she's at 18,000 a week.
That's some good money.
Right? Now, that doesn't include any of her expenses, okay? 18,000 a week times 4.
$72,000 a month.
So she is grossing.
Open up in here so now. Let me get 30%.
She's grossing $72,000 a month.
Yeah.
Now, I shouldn't have erased those expenses, but what were the expenses?
Let me see. Hold on.
Let's just cut it by 50%.
Okay. The expenses?
Yeah. We did the expenses in here. We will just take half of that.
Expenses were 16,000 foreign. So can the website, the merchant, something.
That was a month?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for the quarter. Yeah, so her expenses are going to probably go up. Her utilities are going to go up.
Let's just keep it half.
Yeah, I'm going to just cut half of
Operating
that.
expenses by half.
Or at least 40%, like 35.
Oh.
It's probably going to be close to about 35, 40%.
Which one you want to do? 40? You can see 40%.
Some of y'all be negotiating bad deals. I don't know. Maybe let's just do 50. I'm sorry. Let's just do 50%.
All right.
We'll do 50.
It's 36,000 she is having expenses.
So 36,000 in expenses, and she's left with 36.
36.
Mm-hmm. So her net is 36,000. Now, remember, she squirreled away some money, so she's got savings, investing. I probably need that when we do the tax burden, but because her tax bucket and stuff is going to play an important role as she's moving forward. So 36,000 a month. So she's still doing good, right? Because she quit her job, yes, and she's doing this full time and bringing home 36,000. Now she's going to do this for a year. She's going to be disciplined. She did quit her job, but she's still staying home with mom. So maybe she's paying her mom rent. She's helping out. She's not being a leech and a burden to her mother. But we included that with the 50. Okay, so she's got 36,000. We're going to multiply that by 12.
432,000.
So 432,000. So she is in the 6 figures. She's the 1%er now. She's like, oh, I did that. Way to go. Now, if she's disciplined now, she ain't go kook, she ain't go crazy. She's like, oh my God, I got money in the bank. Now we could divvy up and figure out how much she has, but the tax burden, remember, so this was after her expenses. So we might have to do it gross to do the 37% versus self-employment versus S corp. And we want to go in that realm so you can see the difference. But just for theory, right? She's at 432,000. We kind of laid out that plan a little bit. Now, we didn't do the marketing, how she gets it, how she grows it. That's where you're going to go to your marketing gurus and work that out. Hopefully, you got good service, you got a good environment, you got a good value ladder, and $1,000 price point catering to luxury clients is a realistic thing for you. If you do that, you got 432,000 by the end of the year. So now, you know, you met with your financial people, so you knew your projections. So what did they tell you to do? Start paying quarterly taxes, right? But you were putting money away from the beginning. The only thing you're going to do now is file it. You want to send the money to the IRS every quarter, okay? So, let's see, 432, we did that. All right, so let's look at the tax burden here. Or we could just keep going high level and move her right on into what that looks like as a S corp.
Yeah, but
okay.
As an LLC, what's that?
Because we did take out some of the taxes in here, though.
Right, but at the end of the year,
I mean, we took out some of the expenses, but you could still, because you get her at 37%.
She's going to be paying half of that,
Yeah.
52.3% taxes. So 4, 3, 2.
So her self-employment tax and her income tax, what's her tax burden, her tax liability?
I did the highest tax rate, so 37% plus 15. That's 15.3. That's 52.3% in taxes she's gonna pay. All right, so then that's score 32 times 2.
So that's about half. So she down to
225,936. That's how much in taxes she owe as an LLC.
right. So as an LLC, she will be owing about $25,000 in taxes, right? Now, that's a lot of money to pay the IRS, right? When you look at it, you're like, oh my God, I'm giving them half of my profit. And so this is where you want to take a beat and start counseling with people to help you lower this, right? How can I get more of my money back? Now, even though you did squirrel it away, you do have some money over here. You don't want to give it all to the government if there's a way that you can lower this legally, right? So, and there's tons of ways that you can do that, right? Some people initially talk about, okay, if we transition you to an S corp, which does include payroll and payroll taxes, but the tax burden then changes. So if we just do that, how much is she saving? On the 21% on just doing her as an S corp. Not
percent or C corp.
S corp.
Oh, if we do an S corp,
because it's just 21% times the 432. There are other taxes in here, right? Because you have to be payroll, and there are going to be some other taxes in there, but your tax liability is going to change, right? So the 432,000 that you made by being an S corp, paying the corporate tax rate, which is now at 21%. Your tax liability is now what?
90,000.
90,000 what?
720.
720. That's a huge tax break. That's the difference you have in that is ginormous. Right? So you're like, well, I need to get here. Right? What I need to go because I don't want to pay this. So that helps you. And so most people are really excited by this, but then they don't do the things they need to maintain this. So that's what we want to talk about next. As you transition to an S corp, what do you need to do? How you should set up and how you need to operate, right? So that's her next phase, because we see that the tax liability, she's saving a lot of money, right? So that we're going to pick up from that point. And what do you need to do to operate as an S corp? What does this look like? But first, you do need to make some money. Now, she did this in the year. So before the year is out, maybe in her like after 2 quarters, 6 months, halfway in, she's having conversations because she know how she's trending. Right? She's like, okay, well, I'm moving in the plus direction. I'm making money. So I need to reach out to a tax professional, a CPA, an enrolled agent, someone, a CFO, a strategist, somebody that can help me figure this out. So I'm not paying them this at the end of the year. And I don't want to like fall out and die. So that's what she's going to do. She's not going to wait till April of the following year. And at that point, there's really nothing you could do. I mean, you can kind of transition, but you're not going to have nothing in place. Okay? So we're going to pick back up. What does she need to do to transition to the S Corp and how you maintain that? Okay? So can I erase? And we're going to swap out, or you want me to keep going?
You keep it.
Okay. So now we're going to go to S Corp. Right? What is the S Corp? We talked about that in the first episode. It's the sub-chapter of the corporations, like the baby sister. It has a lot of flexibility. What an LLC does is you could transition to that, right? It is not a legal, it's not a legal entity. Well, it is a legal entity. I'm sorry. I misspoke.
Tax elect.
It's a tax. Well, like LLC is not a legal entity.
Yeah,
I'm going to leave the numbers here. So as she's transitioning, there are a couple of things that need to happen. And one of the main things is that the owner needs to be on payroll, right? So we talk about payroll. And then you also want to look at what? Your profit. So some people try to transition way too early. She's okay. She's transitioning. But sometimes people want to transition when they're like at 100,000 or I'm at 80,000. I guess, but it's going to cost you some money to maintain this side. And you need to have discretionary money to converse with the professionals to keep this side running, right? So you need to have some money. So I typically say, once you start netting at least 150,000, you could start transition, or at least 100, right? Then you need to transition because you got to have payroll, which includes payroll taxes, quarterly taxes, right? Right? That includes higher costs, professionals, right? You might get a bookkeeper in that group, right? How about employees, assistants, right? So it starts to grow here. So you need to have some money and capital to function as an S Corp, not just to save taxes, but to really grow and transition your business to a full-fledged company, right? The tax advantage is sweet, but you really want to be a business that will sustain. You got to have people and systems in place, and that costs you. So if you're at the bare minimum over here at 80 grand, that's really not a lot of money to me to be like, yup, I'm going to be an S Corp. I'm going to put myself on payroll. You could, I guess, but I almost feel like that's the low level part of it. I think you need to focus more on sales and making more money. You're not ready to do the next logical step. You got to generate some more money, right? So when you transition here, we're going to take a look at what that looks like for the year. How do you operate and function in that S Corp phase?
Okay.
So guys, that's pretty much how you can see the benefit on why most people want to be the S Corp, right? This is the shiny, sexy object. But most times people do not have enough enough net income to really make this thing pop off, right? And so
I'm going in too early.
Way too early.
Too early, and don't know how to actually run it or function as an S Corp, right? Or they're listening to somebody that's just like, hey, go S Corp, right? And I'm not opposed to you going there. This example, we are real like high level and high income. So yeah, we can get into the S Corp and break it down. So let's do that.
All right.
Let's do it. Here we go. All right, cool. So look, we made almost, well, I ain't gonna say almost half a million. We made $432,000 for the year.
We almost
Almost there, right? So what happens is first of all, if I were meeting with her, we probably would have made this transition a long time ago. But for the sake of our example, she went a year, so it's probably very limited things that she could do in the upcoming tax season to help mitigate this burden.
Well, we did say after the second quarter, right?
Okay, cool.
Let's say halfway.
So we projected out $432,000.
Correct. Based on how she was trending.
Cool.
We forecasted those numbers
Right.
because we were like her first quarter, she was making $36,000.
Yeah.
So when she goes to see her tax professional,
Right. So
they are projecting based on her P&L and her numbers because she got it together, right? You could see how she's trending. So you can say, well, I'm projecting that you're going to do 432.
Yeah.
Let's transition you now to an S corp after the first quarter is over.
For sure. So cool. So we're not bad. We second quarter, right? We did our projections. So we we about to pay $225,000 in taxes. Like, what can we do to mitigate that, right?
That's the consult,
Right.
Because that's how you want to rope her in.
For
You
sure.
Say, if you don't do it today, this is how much you can pay in the IRS.
That's how you're going to. So understand that you're going to be dealing with a strategist, right? So you're not going to talk to all tax professionals not made the same, right? You're going to talk to a strategist who know what they're talking about, he or she, right? And know what they're talking about. In this transition.
Well, at least to understand numbers.
Right. In this transition, you're going to need, and then you got to be careful. I'm going to just be real. I don't like a lot of tax strategists, right? Because I feel like they don't really get into the body of the business. All they focus on is a strategy. Well, go get not only the S Corp, or go get the G-Wagon, or go get this thing, or go get that thing, right? And we don't even know.
And there's no Section 179 that say,
and then we don't even know the heart.
If necessary, you might not be able to write that G-Wagon off.
Right. You don't even know the half of this. So I would definitely make sure that if your numbers person, or get with your accountant, or they might be doing CFO services that can also help you with these numbers before you seek a tax strategist, or if they are all the same person, right? So in this scenario, we have $432,000 projected out for the year. The first thing that I'm going to look at is show me your business structure. So the LLC, we know that they got an LLC, right? And I'm going to say, well, is there any other business? Who owns this LLC? More than likely, because it started in mom's house, right? She just owned it outright. The first thing I'm going to do is we're going to go right into the business structure, and I'm going to say, boom.
We're going into the business structure because we minding your
business, right? Because that's how I see it, right? So I go top down or bottom up, right? So that we can get into this, right? So we go right into the business structure, and the first thing I'm going to say is we need to, because when I talk about business structure, I'm thinking about taxes, and then I'm also thinking about protection, right? Because now we're dealing with clients, and she's dealing with people's hairs. We don't know who might get the messed up perm. We don't know who might get the bad hair coloring that's gonna try to come for you. Like, you done messed up my sew-in by
or the assistant.
You know what I mean? Or the assistant, right?
She
So
needs an umbrella. She needs some insurance.
So you have really like limited protection, right? So we're gonna bulletproof this thing up. So the first thing that I would say somebody to do is add a layer, add a business structure here. So we will add the LLC, that we will make a management company, that we're going to turn into an S Corp. So this management company will own this LLC here, right? This will be the owner of the LLC that she started. Now, why did I do that? It adds a layer of protection, a body between me and the LLC person, right? She got a company that's behind the scenes that owns this. So when you go on whatever Secretary of State we was on, and we figure out who owns the LLC salon, we're going to find out that the LLC management company owns it. So then now, how do we reduce the taxes? Well, we got to shift the income. This money here, let's just say we take this 200 out of the 52% that we came up with. This company is going to end up paying what's called a management fee. Where I want to go from there. Let's call a management fee. Management fee
to that owner, the owner of
to the S corp. So the Salon LLC.
Why do you have to do that?
So what happens
because the S corp has to have what? A person on W-2.
Right.
So why do you work that out? Say, all right, well, the person who's managing the management company
for sure
needs to have a W-2 associated.
For sure.
So that's how that's working, right? I hope you're following.
And this is how we get there, right? So it's not as simple as, just get on W-2 and get on payroll. No, well, we got to make sure we're in the right company to be on payroll, because LLC can't take payroll. They do what?
On this draw.
They don't take payroll. So in order to get on payroll, we're going to incorporate the management company. We're going to have this company pay the management company to manage all the other companies. And this is where our W-2 is going to come from, right? And so when we're on W-2, we're on official payroll. I'm not talking about Excel spreadsheet breakdown. I ain't talking about pulling out the taxes manually. I'm talking about real professional. You can go on QuickBooks, Gusto, ADP, Paychecks, or get with a person.
Xero.
Right, Xero or Gusto. Right, and get with a person who actually do it to put yourself on payroll. Why? So they can take care of the payroll taxes, right? This is where I'm gonna leave that alone. So they can take care of the payroll taxes.
You don't want no problem. So sometimes people be trying to do they trying to hide it. They trying to undercut more than necessary.
Right.
Just do this part right, and we just said how much money you would save. But then people go, well, I don't want to pay the payroll person. I'm going to do it myself. And then you end up jacking yourself up with the payroll taxes for the federal and state.
Yeah. But you know what? I'm going to just go there. Why not? Right. So this is so you can pay the payroll taxes. Right. So this is where, guys, this ERC credit comes from. I have many clients who have utilized this credit and don't have a sole employer in sight, right? Because you can't use it for yourself. But this is where this comes from. The IRS is giving you back the money that you paid during the COVID years for keeping employees that you had over those 2 years, right? So you want to be on official payroll. So that's going to be what's going to help you save on the tax perspective. So now that we put the owner on the W-2, her income is taxed at ordinary income tax rate. And let's just say I don't know.
You could make her 70, because what was she making in her other job?
I don't remember, 40 grand?
40 grand. So let's say, and she didn't upgrade her life, y'all. She's still living at home with her mom.
She about to upgrade her life with these strategies.
She definitely about to.
Because what's about to happen.
Put her, because once you get her on payroll.
But then we talking about her payroll. So
you could pay her. She's going to pay herself, let's say 80 grand.
Let's say
80 grand. Because it has to be reasonable. She's a manager. 80 grand. Yeah. Now, guess what she's going to be able to do? Get a house, pay on W-2 without looking all up in her business.
Yeah. So she'll 80 grand payroll, which means if
she's single with no kids, she probably going to pay like 9-10 grand and pay.
But that might not be the case. We talking.
Let's make it clean. I feel like.
I don't want to go into no trauma.
I don't feel like doing the kid like marriage. She's still let's keep it clean.
All right, we at $80,000 a year on her W-2, right? We still got the LLC is a management company. That's how these things is getting paid.
You have to do this part. But please understand the psychology and the why.
Yeah.
Why would the IRS give you such a break if you become an S corp? They say you have to have, at least the owner has to be on payroll.
Yeah.
So they're trading taxes for taxes. They're like, as the business owner, we will cut your taxes, but you got to give us something, which is taxes.
And
it's money. You can't. So people really need to understand this. You can't take and not give.
Yeah.
It is a give and take. And so you really want to understand that. So when people go, I don't want to pay no taxes, right? We're talking about those financial algorithms. Yeah. Let's break that. Yeah. You have to pay taxes. You can pay less, but you have to pay something in the cycle of give and take.
Right.
I'm not going to go on a whole tangent, but we live in the United States of America that pays a lot of our stuff. And how do they take care of it? Taxes. You don't live in China. This is the United States. You want police, fire, roads, you want public school. There's a lot of places don't have public school.
Now, I'm definitely a fan of...
Pay your taxes. You can pay less.
Pay your taxes. Don't give them no tips. All right? So
If your kids go to public school, if your kids go to public school, you need to be like,
you're making money like this, you need to get your kids out of public school.
I'm just saying. She don't right now.
But look, so we went W-2 80K, right? So that's a strategy. We already in the tax strategy, but we also have movement, guys, because we actually built this business structure. A part of this is understanding the numbers to know what you can and cannot do, right? So when you start getting into the forward financial projections you're monitoring, I'm going to show you how the S Corp work. So we good with this because I'm getting ready to erase it. I need the numbers. We already know what we did. We implemented a strategy to help her get a W-2 job. I'll keep the $432.
She started a new S Corp. She started a new LLC. That's going to own the other one, own the salon suite. And then she's going to make the management company herself a payroll under the management company.
Right. So we tracking. That's where we at. We good. Making $432,000 projected, right? And $80,000 projected because we all still own. All right. So now we're going to get into how this thing works. Because everybody be like, oh, I got an S Corp.
Right. And so you got it. What I really want you guys to understand is the payroll taxes, the 80 grand she's paying herself, pull the taxes out on that. So let's say $10,000 is going to come. You have to pay the taxes on that 80 grand. Let that go. Don't fight over that. We're not going to fight for that, okay? Because what are you saving? What did you just see the savings from the $200,000 to the $90,000? We're jumping over the quarter to get to the dollar. Everybody sometimes is focused on what everybody else is getting. If you're giving the IRS 10 grand, send them their 10 grand and run to the hills. Because what did you save? Almost $200,000 by just switching entities. Pay them their money. Oh, I got a hand heart. Thank you for my hand hearts.
This is what this structure is. You guys gonna see me to draw this a lot as we do these videos, right? Here's how your structure is. This is your left side, right side. You got your 10-4, you got a trust, right? We didn't even get into that really, but your trust owns everything that's on this left and right side. Here's this S Corp management company we just made, right? That's this company. This company is gonna spit you out the W-2, right? And then it owns the LLC, which we kept it at LLC, which is the salon, right? So what happens in this S Corp structure? One of the things you want to drill down on is financials. Why? Because I need to be able, businesses have cycles just like everything else. At a certain point in time, it's summer, and then when summer's over, it's winter, or fall, then winter, then spring, right? That's how this works. Businesses go through the same thing. At some point, we got profits up. Some points, we got profits down. In order for me to see when that's going to happen now, you got to start getting into measuring your money, which we talked about
numbers. We got 2 years
of track records.
I think we had 3.
We're on year 3.
We're on year 3. So we got 2 years,
2 quarters
of financials to see how she's trending, right? To say, okay, she's been growing, blah, 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 blah. And so what she's also going to do now, because she's a boss, she's like, okay, she's going to then hire and put some people on payroll, or she's going to 1099 some contractors. She's got an assistant, right? Because
at this point, we done took her from the suite. You start getting into this with this type of money. So let's just say we're into the year. We're trying to project.
She needs to have an assistant. Right? She needs to have an assistant. Let's put somebody on payroll. Because you can't be a one-man show doing this. It's not going to work.
She can get her own salon.
Right? She's going to...
Salon comes with what? Other stylists?
Well, no, she's still in the salon suite this year. This is her third year.
We haven't booked her up.
But she's going to...
This is what I'll be projecting to tell her.
Right. So this is you get her ready for year 4.
For year, right. We're going to save on year now. But we also have to do these things now to get ready for the next year.
So you're going to
Because we got to find out what this looks like. Right. So if I project out, I say, boom, You're going to buy a salon. Why would I suggest that? Because she's going to own the real estate.
Yes.
That's another strategy.
So that's
right?
now and later.
Right.
Now she's going to get her an assistant. And then what can she do with the assistant? Pay her top dollar.
Yep.
Don't nickel and dime your assistant, because she's running the plate. She's going to run the salon and help you have a work-life balance.
Yeah.
So that you're not in the salon 15 hours a day.
Yeah.
Right? She's going to help you transition to be a true boss as you go to corporate, as you
what's
maybe
gonna
set up
happen
multiple. She's going to eventually be almost like your
That's
office
exactly
manager.
that's exactly what this
That's
future
right.
projection is going to go to,
That's
right? So
right.
she's going to go from assistant, and once you start building out the salons and you start
Salon
having all this stuff, you're going to have a manager. She's going to
Regional manager. If you start free
get promoted to you, and she might be the person he or she might be the person that started with you. So then you might want to make them what, your COO. So now they start operating everything because they're you, right? Because you got to think
buy-in, right?
Or buy-in.
Just 15%
profit sharing.
profit share.
That's a real thing. A lot of financial advisors, we're talking about this stuff in the space right now. I go to many conferences. These are the things that we're talking about. How do we profit share, right? Because what you want to do is you want to grow a company, guys. You want to grow the company beyond yourself. That's what you say you want to do, but then your actions don't show that you want to
And
do
why?
this.
Why you can't? Because you tight on the money. Jump over the quarter to get to the dollar. She doesn't
holding on.
have any buy-in.
Yeah.
It's not her company. Why she working twice as hard for you with no buy-in?
Yeah.
Right?
And this is actually real. I took a
You
company.
trying to nickel and dime her because you're not good with your finances.
I took a 7-figure stylist, and we started to implement these things. The person she had as her assistant became an operations person. Operations, we started to do the profit sharing and what that looks like, and start projecting out quarterly. But so now we in the structure of the S corp. One of the things you're gonna have to do is start having annual meetings. What we're talking about now is a part of the annual meeting. So if I were you, especially if I'm the only person that's dealing with this, I would have an annual meeting with my tax strategist or my financial strategist.
The whole team.
And the lawyer, right? So you want to have a meeting with whoever you got running this company. Let's just say it's just you. I would do it with the whole team, your operations person.
Questions. At what stage did the lawyer in this process?
Well, she's going to be talking to a lawyer along the way, because if she has a logo or design, she wants to get that branded, right? And so she might have different types of attorneys.
You should.
One attorney usually doesn't specialize in all.
I want to make this clear. You should have that, but a lot of times people come to me and they don't have that. So as a strategist, I know.
So through this year, this is her money transition year. She's going to talk to all the financials, right? She's going to talk to her CFO, a tech. She's going to be searching. At this stage in the game, she is recruiting people for her team. She's going to recruit and look for a lawyer. She's looking for a CFO. She's looking for a tax strategist. She's in the recruiting stage this year as she's transitioning to the S corp. And hopefully the CFO or the financial person can refer her. And she's going to interview, right? That's what you want, right? You just don't hire the first person you talk to, because you got to also get a better understanding of business and money. So she's going to
make sure whoever give you recommendations, ask them for 3. Always ask them for 3.
Yeah,
you got 3
people I could
don't just pigeonhole me into one. Try me out, because we might not like each other.
Listen,
right?
I'm making money and I don't want to fumble the ball.
Yeah.
Can you and not wait until December?
For sure.
You know what's coming in your account. The first quarter, I'm making money. I don't want to fumble the ball.
You got to take the time to do this.
Who do I need to talk to? You need to take, but you got your assistant.
Yeah.
Block out your calendar for 3 days.
I do these structures all the time, but one of the things I always say is refer to a lawyer, right? Because I'm not a legal person, but I know this stuff, right? So I always send them to a lawyer. So at this stage, because we're strategizing doing the consulting, I'm setting her up, I'd have been like, here's 3 lawyers to go talk to. Boom, boom, boom. When you do your annual meeting, you want to make sure your operations person there, your CFO's there, and your lawyer's there. Why? Because you want to know what's going on in the business real time. You want to know what's happening ahead of time. These are all things your CFO can tell you, so that you know when to make the decisions that you need to make and what strategies to implement.
Yes.
It's all type of strategies we can implement over here, guys. The 401k, the Roths,
The SEP,
right?
the SEP.
You could do the SEP. You can do the self-directed. I'm giving you all the stuff we'll talk about, I'm sure, in more episodes, right?
And what's the phase? Health savings account. What's your
health savings account, right? All these, and these are just retirement accounts alone. But one of the things that I like about my journey, I don't know if I mentioned it before, right? But before we jumped into taxes and start dealing with more business owners from that tax side, I was doing financial planning. So I like the aspect of non-traditional accountants because most accountants just see numbers. They're gonna be like, boom, we're 32, put money here, put money here, put money here, but they don't plan. And most people don't plan. So if you put money in these accounts, you know that they're gonna be locked up for a long time legally, or if you withdraw out of them, you're gonna have penalties. So it might not be the best option, but it's an option.
That's where that's kind of definitely where most tax professionals, well, it's different. Tax professionals, investment professionals, retirement professionals, and business strategists, because you do want to have a certain amount of liquidity on hand to make moves.
Yeah.
But your investment person is going to say, double it down, throw it all in. Yeah. But that ties your money up, and you need to forward think that, because you don't want to, if you really can't afford it, don't do it, because the penalties you're going to get by withdrawing early is ridiculous. You shouldn't even, because I know I've seen it happen where they put money in a 401 and a Roth and a SEP. 6 months later, like, oh, I need to put money in to buy a house. Well, why is that not in with your payroll, right? Because you need to be budgeting based on your payroll.
Yeah.
And so we still then have no self-discipline. We're not budgeting, and we're trying to buy the house more than what we allotted for.
And that's the beauty of the W-2, because with
staying in that W-2,
you can just put your do a personal retirement account, right, and it won't affect this. But this, we're talking about straight the money that's in the business, right, on what you can do to set yourself up. But you want to make sure you got annual meetings with these type of people, or you have them with yourself to plan out exactly what it is that you want to do, right? And in the annual meeting, you want to make sure you do minutes, right? And keep a record. So you want to have record keeping. Why? Because when you implement some of this stuff, and when the IRS comes knocking and say, show me the expense that you made on 2023 tax year about this, you got the record keeping that shows the purchase that you made, when you made it, and the minutes to show when you made the decision on why you did it.
Guys, this is easy. If you're on any meeting via Zoom, right, and you're using, most times they can give you the transcripts on the Zoom meeting, right? So it's not like you got to handwrite in dictation like it's 1923, right? We got out of box. It dictates what's happening, and they transcribe it. Have the transcription and put it in Q1 meeting. And who was doing that? Your personal assistant or your virtual assistant. At this point, you need somebody who's going to help you manage the business, right? And so a lot of times what we tend to do is we overhaul the assistant that's working in the shop. You try to make her like your personal assistant. That doesn't work. The assistant in your shop is washing hair. She's maybe taking appointments. She's not your personal assistant dealing with your finances. She may be keeping your books together.
Kind of people.
So now what you need to do is get either a virtual executive assistant or a physical executive assistant. You need a EA. You need an executive assistant to help you manage the business and finances of what you're doing. And they need to understand and have at least a basic concept of business. Because what she does every day is to remind you and help you stay on task of what your goal is. Okay, I need to record the minutes. I need to keep the bookkeeping together. Her and the assistant need to work hand in hand. How much did we spend? How much are you ordering? We order shampoo. Did we change out lights? She got to keep track with that, because at the end of the day, they need to know how your business is running. You need to maintain your operating costs and your P&L. And your executive assistant is going to help you do that, because she is talking to your CFO, your bookkeeper, right? Maybe on a regular basis while you are doing the thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And so what happens is you start to chase more of why you even went into business, becoming free. So you need all these people to free you up, right? Your business is already quality over quantity, so make sure that you hire well, right? And so these are the things that you will be doing. All this stuff you're happening from the management company. Now you have with this management company, when you have your annual meeting, I would start to name some board of directors. That's what these meetings are with too, right? Board of directors or advisors, right? Whichever one you want to say, right? Now you taking business trips, training. These are all types of expenses you probably never thought about or do, and then it becomes a write-off. And then once you we start project this out, right? And let's just say the next year this doubles, right? Or let's just say on average, companies probably do anywhere
then
between
you gotta
10
figure
to
out
20%.
how does she double, right? So in this first quarter meeting, she's getting her team together, right? Because
You're gonna really lose money.
Right, you are going to lose money.
Go down before you go back up.
Absolutely, because we're jumping up over the quarter to get to the dollar.
Right.
So as she's bringing in these strategists and people in place,
These people cost.
right, they definitely cost.
So you could do this like in-house, or you could do this side.
Coming off of the 80 grand, please keep in mind, mind you, you were coming from a $40,000 job. Now you at an $80,000 job.
Yeah. And so one of the benefits, I'm glad you brought the $80,000 up. One of the benefits of the S Corp is the fact that we are on a W-2, the owner, the shareholder, right? Let's start talking in real words. The shareholder of the S Corp, which is you, can also take advantage of distributions.
Right, you can start pulling some equity, some money out of the
Start
business.
pulling money out of the business that you feel that you may need. Let's just say 80 grand. 80 grand, you don't have to. Let's just say 80 grand is not enough, or something going on. You just want to keep your W-2 at 80 grand, but you just want to pull some money out. You could take a distribution out of this. Let's say you took let's say at the end of the year, you took another 30 grand in distribution.
Because maybe you're like, well, I want to buy a house and I want to put the 30 grand. I'm going to take a 30 grand distribution and that's going to be my down payment on my house.
And when you do that, guys, guess what? This is non-taxable. Get the distribution to you, non-taxable, and it shows up. Why? Because the rule is you still got to be on W-2, and that's going to show up on your 1120S whenever your tax professional do the tax return. So you get to take advantage of you being on payroll, you getting extra money by way of distribution, and possibly having retirement accounts and having assistance and salaries. You got your operations manager, your lawyer, your CFO. You got board of directors and board of advisors. Make sure you get some people who really are.
And the money, guys, think about the money, where that money is going. Remember, you changed from an LLC to an S Corp. That $100,000 that you was going to pay, the $200,000 you initially going to pay the IRS, we switched it. Potentially your tax burden is now 90. The difference is paying for these people.
Right.
Right. The difference, that 100 and something thousand, is going to operating. You putting it back in your business. You didn't take the money and squander it. You're pouring it back into the business, because how are you going to gross more money the next year? We're going to strategize that, right? You are still a one-man show. You're going to open up the salon, right? So at the end of the year, we're saying you made $432. At every quarter, you're strategizing. What's my next phase for year 4? Okay, if I'm going into owning my own salon, or maybe I don't want a salon, maybe I stay with the salon suite, but I go into product, right? I'm really into the product thing, or maybe I want to start
make you more money.
My own line, right? Or maybe I want to, like, as you are in your,
for sure,
as you're in your craft, you start to discover things that your clients need. Okay, you know what? I'm realizing potentially my clients damage their hair when I sleep. Maybe everybody comes up with their own bonnet line. Maybe I come up with my own, for real.
Yeah.
That protects your hair when you sleep. Don't be nasty. The hair bonnet, the silk hair bonnet, protects your hair when you sleep, especially black hair.
But see, these are things that not necessarily that you will have in your annual meetings. This is not what you will have. This might be part of it. But these are things that you will have in your team meetings.
For sure.
Upper management type meetings on what's happening in the business based off the numbers, because that's what's going to show, right? It's going to show where we making money, where we losing money. How can we make this better? Where's the leak? right? And why is the leak? Maybe I do need to produce a product line. Maybe I do need to own my own salon because it's going to help me facilitate everything that I want to do. Plus, I get the tax break benefit off the depreciation. And your annual meetings and stuff, this is where you're going to maintain the type of minding of the business itself, because most people don't do this. Being the steward of your money. Remember, I told you we got a company that we went to a management company, and you still have your original LLC. Guess what? This LLC still has a bank account. It has Secretary of State fees, right? All this stuff helps you maintain that corporate veil, that asset protection we were talking about. You talk to any lawyer, they're going to tell you exactly what I'm spitting out to you. So when you open up the new LLC, you need the same thing. Bank account, right? SOS fees, Secretary of State fees. And when we do money movements, you need to show the movement. You can't just don't be in here buying up stuff for your personal at Walmart, right? When it's the business account, you need to move money from one place. This company has to pay this company. Then this company pays your salary.
Mm-hmm.
This company pays your salary. The money has to move exactly like I'm telling you, or your corporate veil will be pierced. Anybody sue you, the IRS come and say you doing something wrong, they're going to look at all this stuff. This company pays the management company pays your salary, and it can pay your distribution, which means what? There's a personal bank account.
Yes, and protection. Because now, guys, when you go to buy a home, you can just give them your W-2 and your personal bank account. They don't need to see all this. Only your business bank account. We need 2 years tax statements, and we need to see your bank statements and your W-2. Just pay yourself and give them that W-2.
Yeah.
And your personal bank account. They don't need to know what you got.
Way more money talking about how can I qualify for a home with my LLC? Why? Well, you could just be a good steward with your money to grow your business. I get having
and you can get the FHA loan.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean the business can't own assets.
For sure.
Right? That's what we're talking about. It's separate. That's that's the ultimate protection when you can separate the two. Y'all can't really separate, and you're not operating in that separation. Y'all got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You because you don't want to do the things necessary and listen to the people that's telling you how to do it. You're because why? That financial algorithm.
And that's what happens, right?
This stuff necessary.
That's what happens. So the right side of this operation thing is your assets. You start another company to hold your assets. Don't hold no real estate in your S Corp. Don't do it. All right, you start another LLC that holds your assets and all that stuff, which is another tax strategy I just implement off one conversation. We have a $432,000 projection, what does taxes look like, and it produced all of this. Most of the tax strategists I see telling you to buy the what's that thing, the G-Wagon and all these things out here, and then we see the taxes and we well, where's the books? Where's the P&L? Oh, my numbers person. Well, what's this? What is this? You don't even know how much money you making. Where'd you spend at Walmart? Where'd you spend it?
Because your strategy should be able to walk you through, because you have to operate. You have to know your role.
Yep.
And if you don't know your role, you want to commingle and mix it up and mess up the veil.
And if this
you have to know how to operate, and it should be complicated.
You need to train on the professional, right? Because this is what it takes to be. Don't allow you to start making this type of money or any type of money, and the lawsuit wipes you out. An employee gets rid of you, right? Because we didn't even talk. Anyway, we didn't even talk about just all the additional insurances you need, right? This is real protection. That's why I say you want to get with a real strategist, right? And make sure so as an S Corp, we done saved you money on taxes.
Yep.
We done produced you a W-2. We got you a personal bank account. We done came down and gave you a distribution. You got a trust in place that your lawyer set up, your management company, your salon LLC, and we about to start getting into real estate because you bought a salon or you want to do
You're about to get a salon.
About to get a salon. You possibly have some retirement accounts from the business. You definitely got a retirement account coming out of your own payroll, right? We're starting to have annual meetings on the annual basis at minimum. because you're a shareholder in your company, right? You done hired a good assistant. You done hired your CFO. You got your lawyer. And
you got a good assistant and executive assistant.
You booming.
You got it.
At this point, let me tell you something.
You a business.
We are still in the growth phase.
Yeah. Yeah. And you could.
Because there's a difference between scale and growth. This is just a growth phase, but what we have been able to do was, from doing the numbers, we are able to see what your business activity looks like. This is why we started off with the whole mindset of, because your habits is going to show up in your business.
Absolutely.
Right? And so we know what the numbers look like to project what you should do or not do, and more importantly, when you should do it. And so once we did that, we got your books in order, and that's the heartbeat of your business. You talk to any real business owner, they'll tell you they know their numbers. And now we start to scale by doubling down.
And a lot of this is you can sit here for 2 to 3 years. And this structure, sitting here, because you got to also have almost like a learned behavior, right? You got to figure out how to operate in this space as a CEO and as an employee and manager, so you can understand, so you just don't tear down what all these people
do CEOs do?
Correct.
Right.
So before you go into the C Corp, you got to sit in this. You got to take some leadership skills. You got to bring in more people. If you start owning us the line, what does that look like? Mm-hmm. That's real estate. Okay, that's employee managing people, getting people to buy in, so that you can really have no time and you manage it, right? What does that look like? So you can sit in this space for 2 to 3 years and build up more revenue and knowledge and information. That doesn't mean like, oh, I done made this money, let me hurry up and jump to the next level. And you didn't really build in a bigger cushion, because the larger you play, the larger cushion you have, right? You climbing up the ladder, you playing more and more with the big boys, you need more of a cushion, more of an umbrella, more asset protection. And so that means you need to squirrel away some more money. You need to get your financial algorithm tight, so that you don't start squandering and losing money. And think you are going to, take some hits. That's just how business is. Yeah. But you'll be able to bend and not break, because you have a healthy financial algorithm.
And this is how you prepare for all seasons. Yeah. When it's going good, guys, look, I like Game of Thrones. Winter is coming. Prepare for it, right? So in the summers, you prepare for the winters. In the winters, you prepare for the summers. That's how you run businesses. Most people know, I already know what I'm going to be doing per third or fourth quarter next year. Y'all probably ain't even look past Sunday, right? Like, this is the type of stuff that we get into that comes with operating.
And not fantasy dreaming, but planning. Yeah. Okay, so
not having a bunch of liabilities just off strategies for what, right? So running a business that you can leave in your trust to leave a what? Legacy to people that's behind you. All right, so look, now we at S Corp, we done took you from the basement of your mom's house to your own crib to S Corp, right? From LLC to S Corp, and this is what this structure looks like, right? So you might be thinking, like, what's next? Like, what's next? What should I do, or how should I do? Well, if you choose, because these are all your choices, if you decide to go to what's next,
to go bigger, stay bigger.
Now we're talking about anything from that could involve like franchise moves, anything that might be, you might want to go public, right? To be on the New York Stock Exchange. These are the things that we're going to get into next when we come back next week to talk about the business going bigger.
That's right.
Listen, all the stuff that we're talking about is easily attainable. You can do it.
I don't know about easily, but you can do it.
It's not easy, but it's definitely possible, right?
Definitely.
Like we look at this stuff, we study this stuff on almost an everyday basis, right? So I'm almost like, if this is not your end goal, why even start, right? Like, let's not even play around. You want to start the LLC for what? Just to take a little deduction here or there, just to try to get a little tax break, try to get a little refund, and you're not even being a steward with your refund, right? Like if this is what you want to do, then dive in this and be serious about the business that could be, that the business could be serious about you. You say you want financial freedom. You say you want to not work for nobody. You want to be able to do what you want to do with your kids.
Refund. That's deep.
And still want a refund.
That's deep.
And still want a refund.
That's
so when you're going to your professional, you like, get out. Let me make it seem like I didn't make no money. Why?
Why you want
your financials look crazy? I don't even know why you even do that.
Why you want a refund?
Still want a refund.
That's loaded, because the refund mean you failing.
And that's a mindset thing.
Why you want to stay in that?
And you don't even know how it works. They're giving you your money back. That's what a refund is. You overpaid in taxes and they giving it back to you. Or you having so many kids that the IRS says we're going to give you a credit for having your, imagine it, a credit for having your own children.
Because you are financially incapable. They're saying you at a low, because
listen,
tax credit, the government assists where assist is needed.
Right.
Point blank.
That's where it goes. That's where it goes. So if this is what you really want to do, right, be diligent about it. Be smart about it out the gate. Start having professionals. I started seeking out professionals before we even started making six figures.
So tap in to MindinYaBiz.
Yeah.
So we can help you get your biz.
So do me a favor, make sure you like, share, subscribe to our channel, share with your people. Make sure you drop questions in the comment sections. Tell us how you like it. Tell us what you want to see, what you want to hear us talk about, right? And make sure you share, right? All the links is below, and we'll see you next week on MindinYaBiz.
That's right.
Listen, I'm giving you the ability to get inside my head on what I do for clients day in, day out. This month, I'm doing a Make More, Pay Less challenge. This is where I'm going to teach you how to be an effective CEO, how to make boss decisions, how you can actually grow your company, scale it, while paying the government less money, right? Why would I make this so much money just to give it all away to the government? How to leave a legacy. Make sure you're managing your proper businesses. You want to make sure you're in the room for the Make More, Pay Less challenge to grow, scale, and change your business for the better.